Hi guys, happy Monday. So today we are moving on just a tiny little, actually it's just really a lesson on piecewise functions. We are actually done with all of our other function families. So we're gonna kind of put it all together today by looking at piecewise. So you can sort of tell by the name, as I drop my pen on the floor, you can sort of tell by the name piecewise that you've got pieces of graphs here, but they are going to come together to make one function. Okay, so it's one function that's made up of two or more functions. Each with its own domain. So what that means is, like, I could have a quadratic and a linear. Those rates of changes are going to be like different in each of those functions. So they each have their own domain, but they do come together to make one function, okay? So now if we think about it being a function, we know that it has to be one output for every input, right? So if we have multiple functions coming together, we could have potentially have those jump discontinuities we looked at before. So let's just look at an example of solving this and then also an example of graphing as well. Okay, so let's look at number one. So you'll notice here that we've got three pieces of this graph, and I can tell because I've got an absolute value equation if x is less than -3. Then I've got a quadratic if x is in between -3 and 7. And then I have a radical if x is greater than or equal to 7. Okay, so based on these numbers, I'm going to evaluate the specific function or the specific expression. Okay, so f of -5. So in this case, we have x equals -5. So do I go with the first one, the second one, or the third one? Well, -5 is less than -3. So I'm going to go with the first one. So I'm going to use 2 and -5 minus 5. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify in here first. -5 minus 5 is -10. What's the absolute value of -10? 10. 2 times 10 is 20. So if I were to graph this part of the equation, I would have the point -5, 20 on part of my absolute value function. All right, so same thing with b, f of 2. Well, 2 is in between -3 and 7, so I'm going to go with the second equation. So I have -2 squared plus 4 times 2. 2 squared is 4, so it's going to become -4 plus 4 times 2 is 8, and that is going to be +4. So same thing here, 2, 4 would be a part of this parabola. And then f of 7. Well, 7 is greater than or equal to 7, so I'm going to use the radical. 2 times 7 plus 6, and I get 14 plus 6, and I get 20. Okay, can I take the square root of 20? Nope, but I can break it down, and I will get 2 square root 5. All right, so you guys can go ahead and try number 2 on your own. Same thing, choose the correct expression when you are solving.